Well, hi folks, I'm Bobby Ina, and thank you for joining us today on the Metropolis channel for another series of People in Politics. Today our guest is the Mayor of Parma, Tim DeGeeter. Tim, thanks for coming on board.
Bobby, thanks. I appreciate the invite, and I love the concept and the format of your show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and some of your background, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Sure, great. Well, I'm the mayor of Parma, which is the 7th largest city. A lot of people don't realize that because we get overshadowed because we're adjacent to Cleveland. And that was one of our big talking points when I became mayor 3 years ago, that we're a big city. And one, we should act like it and try to be helpful in this whole regional concept as well. But what led me to the mayor's office is an interesting story, or I like to believe it's an interesting story, but I grew up in Mishawaka, Indiana, not too far from the shadows of the Golden Dome in South Bend. And I started my college at Holy Cross Junior College, made famous by the movie Rudy.
Yep.
Like Rudy, I wanted to get over to Notre Dame to get an education. Didn't want to play football, but wanted to go to college there. So like Rudy, I got rejection letters. Like Rudy, I lit candles at the grotto. But unlike Rudy, I never got that full-time acceptance letter.
And you never played football?
Never played football.
Okay.
Never played football. So I transferred to a school you're probably very familiar with. It's here in Ohio, and that's what led me to Ohio, was basically not getting into the University of Notre Dame. And I transferred to the John Carroll University.
I like how you say that. My alma mater too, so I like how you say that.
Thanks,
That's good.
thanks.
What did you say? If Ohio State could do it,
If
John
Ohio
Carroll
State has a D, John Carroll deserves
That's
a D,
good.
darn it.
I like that.
So
That's
it was
good.
a wonderful education. And then I went on and banged on the doors down the street here to Cleveland Marshall College of Law. Good. And got accepted there. And that's where I met my wife.
Wow.
And we really met. We were in the same section our first year. She's real smart. She's the real attorney of the family. She's a federal law clerk down in Akron for a federal judge. But how we really got to know each other was after our first year of law school, we both waited tables, bartended down in the flats at the Grand Slam Bar Grill in the old Powerhouse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was a councilman, so we got married in '99. Councilman was my first political office. I was there in Ward 4 for 5 years. State rep down in Columbus for 8, and now mayor for 3. And my favorite title, though, isn't mayor, even though it's a good one, is dad. I have 2 kids. I have a son, Jack, who is 6. He's in 1st grade. And I got a daughter, Molly, who will be 3 this August.
Okay, now I have to ask, because I would characterize you as a Notre Dame football super fan. Is that pretty much accurate?
You might be a level down too low. It should be up here.
Now tell me a little bit about that, because I saw pictures of your kids going to games with you and stuff like that.
Sure, it's exciting because growing up there, it's like, you know, growing up here in Cleveland cheering for the Browns or Indians. Notre Dame's like the team there. John Paxson, former NBA player, was my 8th grade sports banquet speaker. My aunt worked at Notre Dame for 43 years. As a retiree, still get season tickets, so I get to go to a number of games. I'm very fortunate, but we always do a family game. My son has never missed a game since he's been born. We always take him for 1 a year. This past year, I had my first father-daughter trip to South Bend, where I took my daughter Molly to the spring blue gold game. And what's nice is it's coming home. So you get to see some football. My aunt comes out, tailgates with us. I get to see my mom and dad. They live in South Bend now. So it's a fun time and reconnect with folks. And even folks here in Ohio, I've met up with Terry Blair, state rep from Dayton. He comes out and tailgates with us.
That's great. I'm sure you see a lot of people going to games like that. Now, do you try to go to every home game in South Bend? Do you make every home game, or?
If you ask my wife, she would say yes.
It feels like you're gone that much.
She does, but I tell her I don't go on golf trips. I try to stay with family. I don't do all those things. And really, she knows that, hey, those home games in South Bend are like holy days of obligation.
Sure, absolutely.
And she comes out with us, so she's real good about it. And I bring my son Jack. I've brought him to different games, so
that's great.
She knows it. And in fact, I remember last year for my birthday, she brought me some tailgate bag chairs, Notre Dame ones, and a table, and I'm kind of guessing or assuming that means those should be used in South Bend on Saturdays.
You have to use them. You can't just let them sit in the garage.
So she's very good, and I usually come home after the football game.
Good.
So I'm home Sunday with the family.
That's awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
Now, you said you started your political career as a Ward 4 councilman?
Correct.
In Parma.
In Parma.
Now, what made you run for that position?
Sure. Well, how I got to Parma is another interesting story, too. Is after that first year of law school, didn't know what I was going to do. You know, a lot of folks were running to big law firms and, you know, trying to get their law clerks positions, and knew I kind of wanted to do something political. So I was taking classes working down in the flats, and would check the career center for job postings, and it just happened that Parma Law Department had a posting for a law clerk. And that was really before the internet was out back then.
Or you just dated yourself?
I did. It's really bad. They had emails. Emails were working, but we had Westlaw and Lexus, so I researched who the law director was, found out it was Bill Mason, that it was an elected position. Some articles said he was an up-and-coming Democrat in the area. So I changed my legal resume to some of my political activities and made a mix and got hired as a law clerk.
Okay.
And that was in the summer of '95. And then moved to Parma in '97. Really got involved in the local politics of Parma. Moved to Parma in '97 and '98. Got appointed to a council seat when Dean DePiro, who was the Ward 4 councilman, moved on to the State House as our state representative. So that kind of set it. And fast forward to today, you drive into across Brook Park Road from Parma, or from Cleveland, and there my name is on the signs welcoming to Parma. It still kind of blows my mind some days.
Yeah, no, that's great, and especially to be a city like Parma, where I'm gonna coin this phrase now. So if you use it, you got to give me credit for it. I mean, it seems like the city of small businesses. Yeah. I mean, I just drove through it. I want to say last week, and it seems like every other store is a small business, and it really is kind of cool to grow up in a neighborhood like that. And for your kids to grow up in a neighborhood like that too, all the ethnic backgrounds and small businesses, that's really kind of a good engine for the city. Is that correct?
Without question, Bobby, you hit it right on the head, and that's things we've been trying to focus on the last few years. We have the Ukrainian Village, which has a lot of Ukrainian ethnic businesses. In fact, my house is not too far away on Tuxedo Avenue there. We have a wonderful parade in the fall. Coming up. In fact, my wife and I just celebrated our 15th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Did a surprise trip to New York City, and we stumbled upon a Ukrainian village festival there.
Wow.
And met folks that have come in, vendors that come to ours. And so what we want to do is invite a delegation from New York City's Ukrainian village, have them come to our parade, and we'd like to go there next year and do the same thing.
It's a great idea.
Which is just building up that using your ethnic background, your small business strength, just for economic development, for neighborhoods, for bringing people together. It's a wonderful parade. One of the neatest things is the churches along the parade route all ring their bells. There's a number of churches. There's 2 Ukrainian churches, but you have the pastors, the fathers, the priests out there in front greeting people. It's just a nice filled community. Yeah. And then we also have a wonderful Polish village too, where we have in May we have a wonderful Constitutional Day parade, after party with great food, great Polish music, cold Polish beer, and on those days, it's a wonderful day to be American because everybody's in a good mood. You have good festivals, good food, so those are great things that we try to promote and push in Parma.
That's great. Now, what is your ethnic background?
Mine is, I was adopted as a baby.
Oh, okay.
I have a sister who's 2 years younger. She was also adopted. Different biological families.
Okay.
And then I have a younger sister. They didn't think my parents could have kids, and boom, all of a sudden, here comes my sister Jenny. But DeGeeter is Belgian, so so that's the ethnicity background for DeGeeter. And in my hometown, Mishawaka, it reminds me a lot of Parma. Especially like the St. Charles area. I went to a grade school called St. Bavos. There's still the West Side Bakery. There's still a hardware store there. There's still a flower store there.
I love cities like that. That's
great. It's a great little concept neighborhood. There's a BK club. That's the Belgian club. No different than you'd see an Italian club or Ukrainian club or an Irish club.
Sure.
So there's a lot of similarities from where I grew up to here. But my biological background is a little bit of Irish, Hungarian, and Polish.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's great. Now, your wife's name is?
Pam. And her name's Pam Smith. She grew up here in Avon Lake.
Oh, okay. Great.
Comes from a family of attorneys. Her father's attorney. She worked for that law firm before, right out of law school. She hates when I tell this, but she finished number 2 in our class. And she'll marry me.
That?
Yeah. She's not a self-promoter, but I promote her on
that.
Quite
the accomplishment.
Without question. And very smart, not only legally, but just street smarts too.
That's great.
And she's kind of like a nice compass guiding and has been very helpful and very supportive throughout my elected
Which
years.
was a very long career because after councilman, you went to be state rep.
State rep.
Correct? And you were state rep for 8 years?
For 8 years. For 8 years because I had the appointed year. And state rep was a great job until we had Jack.
Yeah.
It made it very difficult, because you wouldn't be at home, back and forth, and so there was a time there where working there, having Jack. So I was driving back and forth, especially that first year he was born. But it's a wonderful job. It was made a lot of great friends. You get to know the state so well and connect with so many different people. And there's a handful of people I still keep in touch and miss the day-to-day connections with them, but I don't miss that drive. I used to joke that my favorite thing about Columbus was seeing it in my rearview mirror.
Yeah, that seems to be the theme, even with Congressman Dave Joyce and Congressman Renacci, who were on the show before. They always like being in Northeast Ohio the best. They like being in D.C., but they like being in Northeast Ohio the best. Very similar to
get back home. You know, if I could, and if there are times if I could leave Columbus by 10 o'clock at night for 5 meetings, get home, I would do that rather than stay down there, because I'd be home by midnight and be sleeping in my own house, sleeping, back home with the family. So
that's great.
But it was a wonderful experience. Loved it, and being mayor's fun. I got a much better commute and can make decisions every day.
About a minute, 60 seconds or
something like that.
That's a good commute.
Right. Good commute. And I get to drive through Veterans Park, which always puts me in a good mood, because we have wonderful playgrounds. You see a lot of kids in there, families, and
especially this time of year.
Nice exercise path. Wonderful softball field, so it's just a nice drive through the park.
That's great. Good for you. And I'm assuming you're so energetic and talking about being mayor of Parma that this is something that you could see yourself doing for quite some time.
Well, I'm up for election next year, and I always talked about 2 terms at a time. Look at it 2 terms. So definitely going to be running again next year, and then we'll get through there and look at it. But I tell people it's a job that I care about.
Sure.
So that makes it a good job, a great job, where you can help someone get out there. And we've worked very, very hard these last few years, working with our business community, getting out there in public. We utilize social media, I think, no better than any other mayor in any other city.
That's great.
To stay in touch, because it's free. It's a changing, how do you get your message out there? How do you let folks know that, hey, you're at this event? I do a Mayor's In, Mayor's Out, where once a month I open up office hours after City Hall closes. You can come into the mayor's office, one-on-one meet with me. And then the next month we look at our calendar and pick an event where I'm going to be at and say, hey, the mayor's going to be here. If you want to talk to him, he'll be at say, it's this past week was the Animal Shelters Adopt-a-thon. Okay. We've done it with the Ukrainian Parade. We've done it with our safety fair. And that helps promote that event in and of itself. So it's a sense of community. Really big on our rec programs in Parma. I started a tot T-ball program 3 years ago when I first became mayor. We started online signups to make it easy for families to get involved, because I have a young family, and I put that should take precedence. We want to be able to say to the young families thinking about moving to Parma, look at all these wonderful things we have. And I got to tell you, on the tot T-ball, and I just learned this morning, our first year we started, and my son played, and we had 120 kids. With 8 teams. We now have 16 teams in our 3rd year. So it's really blossomed. It's been a wonderful program. We do a mayor's movie night out, big outdoor screen, family-oriented stuff. So
that's great.
That's exciting stuff to be mayor and just get out in public and hear feedback what's going on.
That's excellent. It's great to learn more about Parma and the programs that you developed out there. And one of the things that we like to do on the People in Politics series is to end with a question that I like to ask a lot of politicians that I'm friends with and know very well. Who's your favorite president of the United States?
That's an easy one, Bobby. It's clearly John F. Kennedy.
Okay.
Anybody who's been into the mayor's office, there's a number of Kennedy memorabilia. It's almost like a museum in there. We have a number of prints with him and his brother. We have original invitation to his inaugural framed, and my prized possession, this is a great story to close on, is, and one of the reasons why, he was Catholic, and growing up, my mother had a John Kennedy button in her jewelry box, and I was just fascinated with that button as a youngster, just growing up, and she gave that to me for college graduation when I graduated from the Jack Hill University. So if you come into my office, there's 3 display cases of political buttons. I collect those, and there's one right in the middle of Kennedy, and that original one that my mom gave me is front and center, and then there's a bunch of other Kennedy buttons from Ted, from Bobby, but that one is the focal point. So that's my favorite president. Just if you look at him, he was president when he was young. With his kids, I love having my kids up at City Hall running around. Sure. It's just, hey, it paints a nice image. What he did for our country, same thing what we're trying to do with our city. That's youthful, that we're out there, we're energetic, we're working hard, and our HAG line is moving Parma forward.
That's great. That's great. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. This was excellent. I hope the viewers got a really good chance to learn more about Mayor DeGeeter. And we're hopefully, down the line, you'll be able to come back on and tell us a little bit more about what's going on in Parma, as things progress. So thank you very much for coming on board.
Bobby, thank you. I'd love to come back, and hopefully we'll come back and talk about Notre Dame national championship.
That would be great. That would be great. That would be a lot of fun. But we appreciate you guys tuning in today on the People in Politics series. Please stay tuned for some other interviews, and we'll hope to see you soon. Thank you.